primary responsibility of every government is the protection of lives and property. We should not create opportunities for this election to be rigged. It's very clear that not having a candidate in Zamfara, they're looking for an opportunity to rig the election.
There was a threat to pull out of the peace accord. Do you see your candidate moving along with that threat?
I'm not aware of that threat. The reason why they're attacking the person of His Excellency is because they don't have anything to offer. We have seen a president who's supposed to be the commander-in-chief assume the position of the complainer-in-chief.
Where does Atiku intend to get his votes from?
From Nigerians. If Muhammad Buhari were the CEO of a company, he should have resigned by now.
In less than 50 days to the general elections, the campaigns seem to have taken turn into the media. We'll be having a conversation today on Checkmate and Rootstv Nigeria with one of the major opposition in 2019 elections. With me here is the media advisor to PDP's presidential candidate, Atiku. You're welcome, sir.
Thank you very much.
Without wasting further ado, let's talk about the insecurity in the country, the first of which is the Zamfara killings. And then just recently, a statement was released, by your candidate stating that there's some sort of collusion between the governors of Zamfara and Katsina State with the federal government to hijack the February elections. At this sensitive time with such sensitive insecurity, don't you think that statement is a bit out of place?
It's not out of place. That's the reality. Those are the sectarian, issues. But I feel that the failure of the governor of Zamfara State should, indicate to us a failure of this administration. One of the things Muhammad Buhari had promised in 2015 was security. We've not had that. We've had a state of insecurity, and Zamfara State epitomizes the worst of the state of insecurity that we have seen pan out the north central states of Benue, of Plateau. Only before I came in for this interview, I think about 7 people were slaughtered. And it's very clear that not having a candidate in Zamfara, they're looking for an opportunity, to rig the election.
Okay, could you quickly explain to me the relationship between a state of emergency in a insecurity-prone area to rigging of elections?
Well, if the governor is replaced, or if he abdicates, like he's threatening to, it then means that somebody will be appointed to take over, the reins of governance in that state. And invariably, that will provide an opportunity, an argument for the APC in Zamfara State to push for a candidate.
Okay, now, so what suggestion would your candidate probably give to stem this tide?
Well, we believe that if the governor, has looked at the situation and is incapable of, dealing with the state of insecurity, the honorable thing for him to do is to resign. That's the honorable thing to do. And not for him to be calling for a state of emergency. I mean, it's ludicrous. And it's fishy that the governor who has not succeeded in his primary responsibility of providing security to the lives and property of the people is the one who is now asking for a state of emergency.
So if I'm getting you correctly, you'd rather the governor of Zamfara State resign than actually have a state of emergency declared there?
I think what is important is that the primary responsibility of every government is the protection of lives and property. There needs the government, the state government in Zamfara State and the federal government need to work together. They need to look at the security architecture. If it's not working, they need to do something about it. That is what is important, and they should stop playing politics, with this issue.
All right, then. So moving ahead, well, another very sensitive matter that has been trending in the news is the appointment of Amina Zakari, to head the presidential INEC coalition committee. Now, looking at this appointment, I see how that has, caused uproar, and the PDP has come out vehemently to state that, they are not interested and they just see this as, a sign of war. Now, let's look at the incidents or the history of INEC. Are we trying to say that this appointment is going to jeopardize the independent institution as a whole, or we're looking to the wrong issues?
Well, if INEC is independent, the processes of INEC, including the appointments that are made to key critical decisions, also need to be independent, or seem to be so. That is why, for example, if a judge is presiding over a case involving somebody that he knows, a relative, or somebody that he has an interest in, he will recuse himself from that. We're not saying that Amina Zakari is not qualified, as a citizen of the Federal Republic. What we are saying is that her relationship with the president, she's a niece of the president. This has not been controverted. And if that is the case, she cannot be playing a role as critical as that. That is the issue.
Okay, there was a threat to pull out of the peace accord. Do you see your candidate moving along with that threat if her appointment is not?
I am not aware of that. I'm not aware of that threat.
Okay, it was in a PDP statement that was released.
What I'm aware is that the candidate, Atiku Abubakar, has made a commitment, to peace. That is who he is. That is his trajectory. That is his life. A peaceful man and all of that. He's made that commitment. But what he's saying, and that also includes what he said, when he signed the peace accord, is that the president needs to sign, append, the signature to the Electoral Act, because he recognizes that since the election is a process, all of the things needed to be done to ensure that the process is free and fair, including the Electoral Act, which 3 times, 4 times he failed to sign, it's important. So we need to ensure that all of the things that may trigger incidents of violence, are stemmed. You remove all of those, factors, and that includes what we do before the election.
Okay, and talking about that, quite significant. Atiku had come out to state and warn INEC that they should not, go ahead and use incidence form as was used in 2015, being that 75% of the votes that were gotten through that particular platform were attributed to President Buhari. Now, INEC seemed to have some sort of pressure, reportedly, seemed to have some sort of pressure in the use of incidence form, being that the PVCs and the card readers seem to have some lacunas that cannot, it's not everybody's card. For example, the use of the PVC and the card readers, they have on that day of election tend to have 1 or 2 issues. What should then be the alternative if they cannot use incidence form?
We should not create opportunities for this election to be rigged, which is exactly what the incident form, we're speaking to is about. It provides a platform, provides a veritable opportunity for rigging. INEC itself, through the chairman, had said clearly that the PVCs and the card reader have become part of our electoral process, and everything that is needed to be done, including technology for that, should be done. They have, as at the last count, about 40 billion naira have been released to INEC for this purpose. They have enough money within the time frame for the election, before the election, to be able to perfect whatever that needs to be done. But for them to use the incident form, it's like somebody attributed yesterday, it's an open robbery. It's like opening your window for armed robbers to come in and raid you while you sleep. We can't afford that.
Okay, now let's look at the integrity mantra. I get that Atiku and the PDP have been saying that they are going to campaign more on issue-based than on, personality, and then the APC seem to be coming for the person of Atiku, being that in the media for a very long time, the corruption allegation, had been standing. Now, the APC spokesperson, Buhari Media Organization spokesperson, had come out to state that there is a sealed indictment against Atiku in the US. That is why the Department of Justice came out to state that there's no current charge, meaning those sealed indictments cannot be revealed to the general public. Now, having in mind the examples, that was given in the case of Jefferson, what do you have to say about this with your candidate?
The truth of the matter, I mean, we need to say it and state it. The Punch newspapers, in November of 2016, done an investigative piece. And there was a submission that there is no indictment anywhere in the United States against the person of the vice president. And that remains. That's from the, from the Justice Department. But for Festus Keyamo, to manufacture what he, he did manufacture, it's in his character. Don't also forget that this was the same individual who tries to set up a man of God. That is still very, fresh in our memories. So it's in his character. And the reason why they're attacking the person of His Excellency is because they don't have anything to offer. As we speak, 90 million Nigerians are caught up in the poverty cycle. 90 million. That's huge. As we speak, the unemployment has moved from 7 million in 2014 to about 20 million. As we speak, the unemployment grew from 8.3 before they took over government to 28.1%. As we speak, people are being slaughtered every day as if they are chickens all over the country. And they are living in denial. We have seen a president who is supposed to be the commander-in-chief assume the position of the complainer-in-chief. So they have nothing to offer. This election is a referendum on what Muhammad Buhari and his administration said they were going to do in 2015. And Nigerians need to make a determination whether they're going to be satisfied with the status quo of joblessness, whether they're going to be satisfied with the status quo of insecurity, whether they're going to be satisfied with the status quo of poverty. It's a decision that we all have to make on February 2019. But let me tell you one thing. If Muhammad Buhari were the CEO of a company, he should have resigned by now. And he will have been sacked. But I can assure you that by February 16th, Nigerians will consider themselves into a board. And via their vote, will send him packing and retire him honorably to Daura, where he truly belongs.
Okay, now still taking a hit to the integrity of the candidate Atiku Abubakar. Now, there's been a call for him to declare his tax from 2015, 2016 and 2017. He only did that for 2018. Now, do we see that happening anytime soon?
Well, when Atiku filed his papers, those papers included his tax, clearance. If there are any issues, you should be asking the task, the people responsible who have a mandate for that. It's your responsibility, not his. You should go and meet them. He has filed his papers. If you have any issues with that, you say what the issues that you have. But beyond that, I think they are playing politics. They don't have anything against him. They don't have anything to open.
Okay, now let's talk about the conversations that trailed, this campaign. Before the campaign started in full gear, we were hearing restructuring as a flag, that was waving. And now people are of the opinion that that is not so much so in the front burner of campaigning. What is happening to the restructuring plan of the Atiku next Let's Make Nigeria Working Again manifesto promising?
He's still a critical component of his policy. I mean, he's saying it. The structure is not just a political rearrangement and all of that. It's economic, it's social, it's all aspects of our life. There needs to be a rejig. It's not just about changing, one government, moving to another. That's not what it's all about. It's not about, at the political aspect. It's also economic. And so, he's been saying it and nothing has changed. He will restructure the country. Because the structure we have now is not working for us. It's not working. It cannot deliver, the mandate for jobs. to take away the millions of people who are unemployed. It cannot, the structure we have cannot take away 90 million people out of poverty. So it needs to be rejected. And it's still part of the conversation that is having.
Let's go back to what's happening in the media. There's been some sort of statements like this campaign 2018/2019 has been the slowest that's been happening. We saw the PDPs come out in full force. Atiku was all over going for rallies, but as at this time, everything seemed watered down. Could you give us an insight as to the campaign plan, the way forward for the campaign plan?
We had before the holidays, we had done the north southwest, done the north central, done the northwest zonal rallies, and then you can't do rallies while people are on holidays. If you go around, you see that even offices have not yet opened. But the campaign is going to come back with a bang when we proceed to the south and the southeast. Zonal rallies, which are the outstanding ones, and then we'll now go to the states. And then it doesn't mean that campaigns are not going on. Campaigns are going on at micro level. Don't forget that it's not just about Abuja, Port Harcourt, or Lagos. It's also about the looks. There are somewhere around 74 local governments and thousands of of ward units all over the place. So campaign is going on. The support groups, before, if we were here, you will see hundreds of them here. People are going back to their localities, to where they're going to make, the biggest, impact. So by next week on thereabout, you will see a resurgence.
Okay, now there's been the conversation, while we sat down with Justice Kiamo, we had a conversation, and he made a statement. He said there's no way Atiku Abubakar is going to become president because, according to him, where would they get the votes from? Now I'm asking, where does Atiku Abubakar intend to get his votes from?
From Nigerians, Nigerian voters. From the 90 million people who are falling into poverty. I bet you I wouldn't know if the mandate that Muhammad Buhari had was to put people in poverty. I'm sure that was not his intent. But what has happened is that it lacks capacity. So we have seen a very incompetent and clueless administration that has wiped out jobs, that has drawn people into poverty, that has failed to provide insecurity. Those are the considerations the voters are going to make. Are they better off in May of 2015, May 29, when this administration came on stream? Are they better off today than they were? Those are the questions they will ask themselves. And the answer is very clear. They are not. People have lost their jobs. There's a lot of suffering in the land. There is poverty. Poverty is on all fours, walking all over the place. They would not go back to Egypt. That's what Buhari has done. This administration has enslaved people. It has oppressed people.
All right, now finally, what is your last words to the electorate while they go out next month to cast their votes?
The one and only question you'll ask yourself before you cast your vote is, am I better off today than I was on May 29, 2015? And if I'm not, what do I do? Vote Atiku Abubakar.
Thank you very much. It has been an enlightening and great conversation. You're watching Checkmate on Rootstv Nigeria. Like you've heard, the conversation is going to happen on new media, terrestrial media, whatever media you call it. But for Rootstv, we will be here to give you the gist, the information, the conversations that are supposed to be had. Stay updated on Rootstv on all social media platforms as displayed on your screen. I am Aisha Jibrin. Have a lovely day.